Hey guys, Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the Friday the 13th Camp Crystal Lake accessory set. Now this is made by NECA Toys and it's part of their ongoing line of 7-inch scale action figures. So the actual packaging is basically going to be a closed box package. Kind of has that board game type of look to it. You got the Friday the 13th logo at the top. It says Camp Crystal Lake accessory set in the front. Got a little warning choking hazard on there. Real Toys NECA logos are right on the side here. And then you can see cool little illustrations that kind of represent the different pieces that you get in the actual kit. You can even see a little cabin in the background with a little illustration of Jason coming out of the lake. Just looking at the side, you get that same logo with the accessory set and NECA. Same thing on the other side. And then on the bottom, you just get basically the credits for the NECA team for sculpting, product development, things like that. And then also the New Line Cinema Friday the 13th, rights, got the UPC code. And then when you flip to the back, you have some really cool things going on. It says Friday 13th, Crystal Lake accessory set again, but it also says Camp Crystal Lake Summer Events. And it's kind of done in this like fun colored letter type of look, which is really cool. For the actual activities sign up, you can see it kind of looks like a little like post board that you would see at a camp. But the actual activities sign up is basically telling you what's in this kit. You can see all the different pieces that are listed. You can also see these kind of like post-it notes that are just showing like different agendas. And then you also have these cool pictures of the different product shots with the actual bases all displayed. And then you can see that they've actually displayed them with the different ultimate figures that NECA has made. And it, of course, does mention that these figures are sold separately. Alright, so I've been looking forward to this one. We haven't had a Friday the 13th diorama or accessory kit yet, at least not an official one. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside. Alright, so once you cut the tape on the top of the box here, you can see there is a plastic clear tray inside. So you're just going to want to go ahead and slide that out. And then you can see all the different accessories are basically in this tray, and there is obviously going to be some assembly required. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the first piece. We'll start with the Camp Crystal Lake sign. Okay, so to assemble the Camp Crystal Lake sign, you're going to need a few different pieces. You get 2 of these sign posts that come with this light. You get 2 of these clear stands. You'll need 2 of these. You get the actual Welcome to Camp Crystal Lake sign. You have a support beam that goes right in the center and has these 2 little hooks. And then you'll also need these really tiny chains. You get 2 of these. So you definitely want those to hang your sign. So the first thing you're going to do is just peg in the clear stand on the bottom, and there's really no right or wrong way to do it. You just peg it in. It's not like a custom shape or anything. It's just a regular peg. So you got the 2 pieces that are standing here, and then if you look at the part here, there's actually different sizes or different shapes. So you want to go ahead and match those up and just put that in there like so. And then you'll do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so you have your support beam. So now it can stand up on its own. And then what you're going to do is there's these little hooks on the sign itself. So you'll take each little chain, and it's pretty small, and then you'll just kind of get each little chain to hang from each one of these pieces. Okay, so if you have both of your chains installed correctly, it should look like this, with each different link hanging from these little hooks. And then you just have to basically hook this into the hooks that are hanging from the post, just like that. And you want to do that on both sides. Now, if you want to, you can also just kind of hang the chains from the post itself, and then you can hook the sign into the chain once the chains are into that. And it kind of looks cool with just like one of them kind of off, so it kind of looks like the sign's like damaged. Okay, so once you get the sign hanging correctly, it should look something like this. And I think NECA's done a really good job with this sign. You can see it just says welcome to Camp Crystal Lake, and then you have this really cool little image of the lake itself, and then it says established 1935. So a pretty cool looking design. I like the wood grain pattern to it, and the kind of like retro look to the writing, and the just the overall design is very cool. Now, if you look on the back of the actual sign, you can see it looks like it's been, painted a bunch of times, which is definitely how it should look, which I like that detail. And there's definitely like wood grain detail in the post itself. And then the lights kind of have that weathered look from just being outside. They got like a little bit of like patina on them. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the look of this. Now, what I really like about this sign is it does look like freshly painted, which makes a lot of sense in terms of authentic to the movies. The first and second movies where Camp Crystal Lake was actually featured, the counselors are only arriving early to do renovations on the camp and kind of like get the agenda together, things like that. So this sign would have been freshly painted. Now, one downside to this actual sign is that there is no functioning lights in it. Now, it's kind of funny, they actually did put the actual plastic like where the bulb would be. So I think that's kind of neat that they did that. Now, just in terms of scale, here it is next to the Part 3 Jason. And I think it scales really nicely. Okay, for the next piece in this set, you're going to have the lighted pier scene. Now for this, you're going to need 4 pieces. You have the light fixture with the post attached to it. You have 2 of these wooden dock posts. And then you also have the actual pier itself with the different rocks and everything attached to it. So this one's a fairly easy one to assemble. Before we get at that, we can just take a look at the details here. You can see it has that wood grain to it, and you can see where all the nails would be, which is really nice little detail here. And then you have the different, rocks from the lake. I guess the edge of the lake here, and I guess this is supposed to be just like the dirt. So pretty cool looking piece. And then even the posts have that wood grain to them on the top. So each of these posts has this little marking right here. And what you're going to do is you can see it has that same match up here. So you could just match that up like so. And you want to push that in to where the post is standing with its taller side showing. So you want the shortest part of it not showing so much, and the tallest part sticking up high. And then you just push that in as far as it can go. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can see again the little match up here. All right, and then you plug them both in. Okay, so once you have the pier mostly assembled, you're just going to want to put this light post in here. And the trick to it is to make sure that this wire here is kind of facing this open side of the pier itself. And then there's also this little fitting here that you can line up with this. But as long as you remember that this part is facing outward against this piece, you should be able to get it just fine. And then you just want to push that in as hard as you can. All right. And then that is it. You should have it fully assembled now. And once it's fully assembled, I think they've done a really nice job with this piece. I like the light post and just the way it kind of sits nicely here. It doesn't like feel like it's, you know, it's not like tilting, or it's not like not sturdy or anything like that. It sits nice and flat. So yeah, I think it looks overall really nice. Now this, if you don't remember from part 3, there's actually a scene where Jason walks out onto the pier with the spear gun. So if you have that part 3 figure, he'll look pretty cool in here, and you can just like set him up on the pier with that gun, and that kind of helps, you know, simulate that original first appearance of Jason where he had that part 3 that mask for the first time. So pretty cool scene. Now again, with the same thing kind of happens with that Crystal Lake sign that happens with this, and that is I really wish the light was actually functioning on here, because if you actually put Jason, you know, kind of underneath that that post, it would have been really cool to see the lighting effect, because it would have gave a nice creepy light to Jason, you know, kind of standing on the pier. But as it is, it doesn't work, but it is still a really cool piece. Okay, so for the final piece in this accessory kit, you basically have the part 6 Jason Lives Watery Grave scene. So with this, you're going to want this rock that comes with the actual sign attached to it. You're going to want the chain that has I guess you would say noose on one side and this flat piece of steel on the other side. And then you're also going to want this little display stand, or actually a tall display stand. You can see the little pegs on this side and this kind of half circle on the other. And just taking a look at some of the details on here, this is really cool. Now, if you watch Jason Lives, which is Friday the 13th, part 6, Camp Crystal Lake was actually done, and they had renamed it and actually reopened it, and it was called Camp Forest Green. Now, Forest Green was also formerly Crystal Lake, but at the end of part 6, when Jason is finally put in his watery grave, you see this old Camp Crystal Lake sign at the bottom, and it's got this like mud and everything from sitting in the water, and also somebody had vandalized it and kind of used red paint, crossed out Crystal Lake and put blood. So pretty cool. Then you also see the boulder with the chain attached to it. So really nice detail on there. Not much detail in the back, but you could just kind of say it's just because it was sitting in the mud for so long. And if you look at the two signs next to each other, you can see a huge difference with the wear and tear and just the age of the sign, but the sign itself looks about the same. Now, assembling this piece is definitely the easiest. All you really have to do is take the base, and then if you just kind of slightly move the lock, there's a little flat cutout. So you're going to take this, the noose chain, and then you're just going to attach this flat piece into the boulder and put it in there as far as you can go. So it kind of makes perfect like cross across the boulder itself. Once the chain's attached, you can kind of just move that out of the way, and you can see there's two holes here, and you're going to go ahead and attach your stand. So you just have to peg right into the holes here. Push the best you can and get that peg locked into the boulder. And you can see I've got it all the way in. Alright, now, as cool as this stand is, it's really best suited if you actually own the Ultimate Part 6 Jason Lives figure made by NECA Toys. That's what this is made for, so it'll definitely display more screen accurate, and just overall it'll work better. So if you have that figure, you're going to want to use it for this scene. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take off the hockey mask, and then pop the head off, which comes off very easily. And then you can actually detach the chain from that rock, which has like the noose on it. And you're gonna wanna go ahead and put that chain on. And you wanna have it to where the neck, the chain here is showing in front. and then you can pop the head back on, so it should look like that. Now once you actually have the figure on the chain, you can turn the stand around, and you're going to go ahead and want to take the stand and put it underneath the shirt to where it just kind of rests just like that. Alright, so once you have them on the stand, what you could do is you can plug this chain right back into that same slot that you saw earlier, right into the rock. And after you got that plugged in, you just add the hockey mask, and there you go. You have Jason from the Watery Grave scene all set up. So hopefully we'll get an ultimate New Blood Jason someday, so we can display that just like we're displaying this one. I think it's a very iconic scene, and surprisingly it'll work great with two different versions of Jason. But yeah, if you got that old cult classics New Blood Jason, that is definitely not going to work too well with this setup. But as it is, it looks great. Definitely one of my favorite pieces from this accessory set. And just to show you a comparison of all of them next to each other, you can see they look great in scale with all the different accessories. And if you have other Jasons, you can add those as well. This is the remake Jason, and you can see he scales pretty well with the sign. And then you also have the Jason from Freddy vs. Jason, and he's a pretty big one. And then if you just want to see how big Amigo Jason is with the sign, here is the Part 6 Amigo Jason, and you can see he's a little too big. The original young Jason still looks pretty cool in front of the sign. And you can also add a couple different displays in here for comparisons. This is the Pier from the end of Freddy vs. Jason, which is split up in two different pieces. NECA has also made some different gravestones, like the one for Jason Voorhees that came with the Part 6 Ultimate, and they also made one for Pam Voorhees that came with the Ultimate Part 4 Jason. Now I haven't actually opened that one, but I do have the Mezco one that's opened. The NECA version is a little bit smaller than that, but it looks about the same. And then also for the Friday the 13th Part 1 and 2, they made a box set years ago, which I actually do have, but that one's unopened as well. But that actually came with a mural for his mother with the head and the sweater and the candles. So NECA's done a lot of different Friday the 13th scenery. It's just been kind of broken up into different releases over the years. So it's really cool to see just one accessory set with all these pieces. Alright, so that's my review of the Friday the 13th accessory set made by NECA Toys. Overall, I'm very impressed with this, especially for the price point. $24.99, you get 3 different pieces. I mean, you really can't beat that. I'm sure other Friday the 13th fans have checked online for customs and things like that. And for pieces like this, for a customizer to make them, you'd probably be looking at around $300 or more. So to have all these pieces for $24.99, it's a really great deal. Now, if you're not a fan of Friday the 13th, these accessories really aren't going to work too well for you, except for maybe this Pier. But overall, if you are a fan and you've been collecting the NECA Toys figures, specifically Friday the 13th, you got to get this set. It is well worth the money. I was able to pick it up at Entertainment Earth, but you can also find it on Big Bad Toy Store, you know, FYE, and some specialty stores. Now, if I had anything to really complain about it, I do wish the lights would work. At least maybe this one with the Pier, just because you could see, you know, Jason underneath of it. It kind of shadows him. So it's a little tough to get really cool pictures without having proper lighting. But sometimes you really want to show, when you have a light fixture, you want to show the light coming from that fixture. So it might be a little tough, you know, with taking pictures of that. But it's a small complaint. The only other thing I would say is I do wish that you got an actual accessory for the figures, maybe even a couple accessories. I know with the Part 4 figure. They're actually making a quarter scale one soon, and that one actually comes with a battle damaged hand. So I would have loved to see maybe that battle damaged hand come with this set, so I can make that Part 4 figure even better. Also, another feature I would have liked to seen is the cracked mask for the Part 6 Jason. If you've seen the movie, he actually gets hit with a propeller blade from a boat, and it cracks the side of his mask. Also, it would have been nice to get a mask to where you can see his eyes. When you look at this mask here, his eyes are blacked out. So to really perfectly replicate that scene from the end, he really should have a mask with holes cut out so where you could see his eyes and that crack on the side. So that's one thing I feel like it was kind of missed with this set. So yeah, I would have liked to have just a couple accessories for the actual figures themselves. Otherwise, it really should be called like a diorama set. But overall, I mean, there's small complaints. For $24.99, you get these amazing pieces. The packaging is great, and I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching my review. Please like it. Please subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask. And until next time, guys, see ya.